Today we're in Taipei, Taiwan, and this place is food paradise. So we can't wait to show you the best food the city has to offer.
Taiwan's most famous dishes, beef noodles, bubble tea, pork belly buns, stinky tofu, and braised pork on rice can be found all over Taipei. But we want to show you the best versions of these dishes. In this video, we're taking you to local favourites to eat the best renditions of these famous foods. You don't want to miss this video. Get ready for some mouth-watering food.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
We wanted to film a video which included some of Taiwan's most famous dishes, so things like stinky tofu, beef noodle soup, and bubble milk tea. But we wanted to hunt down the best versions to show you. So this is what this video is all about. It's going to be about finding the best versions of Taiwan's most famous dishes here in Taipei. And we're starting with beef noodle soup. When you walk into this restaurant, you get hit with the smell of beef, and it's really quiet in here because everyone is concentrating so hard on their bowl of food. Their heads are down, they're hunched over, they're slurping up the beef noodle soup, and oh my gosh, this looks insanely good. So you can see the thick slices of beef shank all on the top there, huge pile of spring onions, these wheat noodles, they're super thick hiding underneath, and then that beef broth is just like a beautiful brown color. It's got a really thin layer of oil on the top. You just gotta get in. This looks insane. So we've got beef, some of those noodles. Oh man, that beef is just like butter. It just disintegrates in your mouth. It is so tender. And those noodles are really bouncy, really thick, and have a lot of texture. That broth though, I didn't get enough of that in that mouthful. Steaming hot. It's really flavoursome, but it's quite light as well. You can taste that beef flavour, and then star anise comes through really strongly. And those spring onions and a real fresh hit. The beef is so tender because it has been braised for hours and hours, and the beef broth has so much flavour and intensity because it's like the same has been done to it. It's been just simmering away for hours, and there's so much pleasure to be gained from a really simple dish like this, a dish which has really few ingredients, but everything has been executed perfectly. Everything tastes amazing and fresh. So there's some other things on the table as well, so lots of condiments. So I can see some pickled mustard greens, there's some soy and some white vinegar, and also some chilli. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of chilli to give it that spice. So quite thick chilli paste there. Alright, just a dollop of that. I might add some of these pickled mustard greens as well. So there's a huge tub of it. So I'll get a big spoonful, a dollop of that. Alright, just mix it all up. And have a slurp of that soup. Oh, those pickled mustard greens add a real sort of vinegary, tangy hit, and that chili sauce is not overly spicy, but it adds just a tiny undertone of heat. Oh, it's so good. The staff were watching me as I was adding the condiments, and they said that I could create a better bowl of beef noodle soups if I added the following. So they brought over some black bean with chili, so I'll add a bit of that, and then a squirt of this chili oil. Alright, here we go. Let's give that a mix. You can see that really dark black bean in there. Okay, let's taste this broth. That black bean, I only added a tiny bit, but it adds a real earthiness and another level of flavour. That's insane. And then that chili oil is a lot spicier. So if you're wanting the heat, go with the chili oil. I'm going to have another big bite. Get these noodles in me. Oh man. It's just perfection.
I've added those condiments as well. Look how thick these noodles look, covered in that broth. Wow. The broth is super subtle. Great beefiness. There's some spices that are in there. Just sing. The noodles, like Shana said, have a great bit of bite, so they're still a little bit chewy. They've not gone all squishy and disgusting. The beef is super tender. Whoa, that is good. That's really good. Something I love about Taiwan is the ridiculous concentration of street food. I mean, the street is just packed with street food, and we're gonna have two things, one right there and one right there. So the first thing is a gua bao, or a steamed pork bun, and then we're gonna have the classic bubble milk tea. We picked up one of these gua bao and it looks crazy good. So it's a steamed bun, and this example of these buns is so fluffy, it's so light feeling. Then inside it has pork, braised pork, two types. So you've got some fatty pork here, which you can see just sticking out, and underneath that you put some lean pork as well. Then there's a whole lot of mustard greens, the dark green color, some peanut mixture and sugar as well, some really finely diced up peanut and sugar, and then a bunch of fresh coriander on top of that. A very simple dish, and oh, it looks good. Oh my god. Wow. The pork is so soft. The bun is ridiculously soft. In fact, everything was just soft. So soft. And that pork is cooked in a mixture of spices and soy sauce, so it's a little bit salty, the pork. A little bit fatty, because I got the fatty pork in that bite. Look at that cross section. All the mustard greens as well. So the mustard greens were super sour. Oh, that is so good. Now, this is a dish that you see all around the world. It's really sort of traveled, this dish. It's got on a lot of menus. I've never had one that tasted even close to this good. Wow. I really love how the meat's been diced up and broken up into really small bits. Sometimes you get a huge slab of pork belly. It can be a little dry in the meat section. I want this bite here. So this central bite has both of those types of meat, a lot of those mustard greens, the fresh coriander, and a bunch of that peanut and sugar mixture. Wow. Flavor sensation. All those elements have their own thing going on. So the meat has a meatiness. You can taste the pork. It's not being totally overdone with soy or spices. It just has a beautiful flavor. The tanginess of the pickled mustard greens really comes through. And that bite, I got a lot of that peanut and sugar mixture. So I had saltiness from the pork, but then I had real sweetness from the sugar and the peanuts. It was unreal.
That gua bao was so delicious. We got it from a stand right behind me just there, and now we're literally going a few steps to there to get a bubble milk tea. And bubble milk tea is like a cultural icon of Taiwan. Nearly every second shop is a tea shop, and this one is super famous locally. They actually don't use tea as such, just milk and fresh boba or bubbles. I've got my bubble tea in my hot little hand, and bubble tea is just so popular in Taiwan. In nearly every second shop is a tea shop, and everyone walks around slurping on a bubble tea. This one is really, really unique because in fact it doesn't have any tea in it. It's only made up of ice, milk, and then the boba. So the bubble or boba are the tapioca pearls, and you can see that dark mixture that it's floating around in, that's sugar. So you can see all of that sugar moving up into the milk. So what I'm going to do is just give it a bit of a shake so that sugar sort of disperses throughout that milk and that ice. Oh, this is going to be so refreshing. Okay, so I've got my straw, I'm going to give it a stab, let's give it a taste. Oh man, this is some good boba. They're almost caramel tasting, almost a little bit smoky because of that sugar being cooked long and slow over heat. It's created like a really strong taste of brown sugar. The tapioca balls are really soft and squishy, and then that fresh milk is so refreshing because it's so iced. Oh man, those boba are amazing. They're unlike anything I've ever tasted. They taste like golden syrup. They're really sweet and sticky and soft and almost caramelized in their flavor. And this stand is widely regarded as one of Taipei's best for bubble tea, and I can see why.
Next up, we're stopping for something that you'll see on pretty much every food video from Taiwan, and that's stinky tofu. So you'll see a lot of people turn their noses up at this, a lot of people saying it's disgusting. We absolutely love it, and we hear that this place does an incredible version. Let's go have some. Yeah. Got our plate of stinky tofu, and it smells really, really good. Now this is the deep fried version, so it's a fermented firm tofu, and these cubes have been deep fried. This comes a number of different ways, but we've got the deep fried one. And you can see when he took it out of the oil, he crushed the cube, so it now has this collapsed center, and he's filled that with some soy sauce, quite a light soy sauce. We have some pickled cabbage and carrot here, a nice big pile of that, and that looks like a fermented bean chili paste there to go with it all. So to make the fermented tofu, traditionally they take the firm tofu and they ferment it in some brine, and the brine's sort of made up of vegetables and meat and milk. I don't know what this restaurant's using, but that's the traditional way. So I'm just going to make up a huge mouthful of one of these cubes. I want to get a bit of everything, so let's get this pickled cabbage and carrot on there, some of this chili paste. You can see the little beans in there. Let's go for a whole one. And the smell of this is amazing. It's such an incredible smell. It does have a stinky smell. It lives up to the name. It's a little bit sharp smelling, but I love the smell. Whoa. That was good. It was really hot in the middle. The middle is super, super soft, and then the outside has that beautiful skin where it was hit the oil, where it's been deep fried. The sharpness of the cabbage goes so well with the sharpness of the tofu because it's fermented. It's got a really sharp edge to it. It's lovely, not too strong on the flavor. I loved it because I could taste everything. It wasn't just the stinky tofu taste. I could taste that chili paste, could totally taste the fermented cabbage, and the soy, that light soy just gave it a nice little sweetness. I've ripped this one in half so you can see how soft it looks inside. So that beautiful tofu, and because he's crushed it, I love that because all that soy has run right down inside. Get some more cabbage in there. This already got some of that that bean paste on, which I think is a soybean in it. Oh. Wow, it's really juicy. The inside just burst in my mouth. Oh, very, very good. People just don't like this dish for some reason when they first try it, and it is amazing. You've got to try it, and it's so perfect when you add that cabbage and it has that little bit of crunch. There's different levels of sharpness. I absolutely love it, and this version is damn delicious.
I'm a real fan of stinky tofu as well, and I've just spotted some chili oil, so I'm gonna add a couple of drops of it to my piece. Alright, let's go! The pickled cabbage is very sweet and vinegary. The chili oil added the perfect heat, and that tofu, it's got a beautiful flavour. It's not overly strong. Now stinky tofu, as Thomas says, gets a really bad rap. You can smell a stinky tofu store from meters away, and it reeks. It smells like an open sewer. But I promise you that what you smell is not what you taste. The taste is just beautiful. It's really intense. It's almost like eating a really strong blue cheese. It's just a really great depth of flavour, and it's very unique.
That was such a good example of stinky tofu. I love that dish, and that was great. Now we are off to find our next absolute Taiwanese classic.
We're on our way to our next stop, but we get to walk through the beautiful park which holds the memorial to Chiang Kai-shek, the former president of the Republic of China, and it is just a spectacular building. What we're eating next is probably the most beloved dish in Taiwan, and that's Lu Fan, or braised pork on rice. This restaurant behind me does a really good version, so let's go and get some. Our order has arrived. We've each got a bowl of Lu Fan. So this is the braised pork on rice. We've got some veggies, so that's morning glory or water spinach, some tofu which has been slathered in some sort of sauce, and then some braised eggs. They've been braised in soy sauce, I think. Now this Lu Fan, so this dish is just white rice that's been slathered with a meat sauce, so pork that's been cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked for hours with soy and spices like 5 spice, and then it's just been dumped onto that white rice. Let's have a taste of this. Oh man, that is good. Oh, it just melts in your mouth. So you can see that pork belly has been used. You can see that fat in that pork there. So that is just, like, you put it in your mouth and it just disintegrates. And it's made the rice really oily and delicious. There is so much flavour. And this dish, the Taiwanese eat it for breakfast, lunch and dinner. You can find it in almost any and every eatery. It is really common. It's just a real comfort food. I want to take a bite of this soy braised egg. Alright. Let me get it. Oh, it's really slippery. Come here, you little sucker. Alright. That's very good. It's got just a beautiful soy flavour, and then the yolk is very, very creamy. But honestly, this is the most comforting dish, this Lu Fan. Let me take another bite. Oh, it's very rich, very fatty, and it just has a lot of flavour, so a lot of pork flavour, and then those spices coming through. And this dish was really, it came about because back in the day there wasn't much meat, and so people needed to devise a way to make meat stretch between, you know, a number of people in the household. And so what they would do was they would take the meat and they would braise it for a long time, so much so that it turned into this meat sauce, and then it was able to be divvied up between everyone. Everyone was able to have a taste of this, of the meat. And I'm so glad that the recipe has lasted because it is absolutely phenomenal.
Gonna rip into this tofu. It's got that really thick, sweet looking sauce on it. It's actually quite a firm tofu. I was expecting softer. Get that on my Laurel Fan, and I just love this meal. Like Sheena's talked about, it's an absolute classic meal here. You'll see people having this at 6 o'clock in the morning for breakfast, and you'll see them having it at 10 p.m. at night for dinner, often with sides like we are. So it's kind of like the Laurel Fan is just the rice dish. It's the rice portion of your meal, and then you have all these little add-ons. It just, there's something about it. It's unreal with that pork fat all through the rice. There's little bits of super tender pork on there. It's special, it's very special, and this restaurant does it really well. That was a great day of eating here in Taipei. Remember, all those things we had, pretty common, but we were showing you the best versions we could find of them. Just restaurants, street stalls, serving those items in the most spectacular way. Awesome flavour. That was such a good day of eating.
Remember, we always put details of where we're eating in the YouTube description below in case you want to find these places yourself. Pop a comment down below, let us know which dish appealed to you the most. We love to hear from you. Hit that subscribe button because we have got a ton more food videos to come, and give this video a huge thumbs up. And if you want to support more Chasing Your Flight content, check out our Patreon page. We'll see you next time. 再见!